Nature, in her wisdom, seems to have arranged it so that men's stupidity should be ephemeral and books make them immortal. A fool ought to be content having exacerbated everyone around him, but he insists tormenting future generations. Not to be loved is a misfortune, but it is an insult to be loved no longer. Virtue has need of limits. Christians are beginning to lose the spirit of intolerance which animated them. They have realized that zeal for the advancement of religion is different from a due attachment to it, and that in order to love it and fulfill its behests, it is not necessary to hate and persecute those who are opposed to it. Aimer à lire, c'est faire un échange des heures d'ennui que l'on doit avoir dans sa vie contre des heures délicieuses. If the triangles made a god, they would give him 3 sides. In republican governments, men are all equal. Equal, they are also in despotic governments, in the former because they are everything, in the latter because they are nothing. Ready. I'm always afraid that they will eventually succeed in discovering some secret which will provide a quicker way of making men die and exterminate whole countries and nations. Talent is a gift which God has given us secretly and which we reveal without perceiving it. Countries are well cultivated, not as they are fertile, but as they are free. My dear Uzbek, when women feel as they lose their attractiveness, that their end is coming in advance, they would like to go backwards to youth again. How could they possibly not attempt to deceive other people? They make every effort to deceive themselves and to escape from the most distressing thought we can have. Nature repairs everything. Nothing is a greater obstacle to our progress in knowledge than a bad performance of a celebrated author, because before we instruct, we must begin with undeceiving. If we only wanted to be happy, it would be easy. But we want to be happier than other people, and that is almost always difficult, since we think them happier than they are. I've never known any trouble that an hour's worth of reading didn't assuage. What I have here advanced is confirmed by the unanimous testimony of historians and is extremely agreeable to the nature of things. For it is clear that in a monarchy, where he who commands the execution of the laws generally thinks himself above them, there is less need of virtue than in a popular government, where the person entrusted with the execution of the laws is sensible of his being subject to their direction. The history of commerce is that of the communication of the people. The desire for glory is no different from that instinct for preservation that is common to all creatures. It is as if we enhance our being if we can gain a place in the memory of others. It is a new life that we acquire, which becomes as precious to us as the one we received from heaven. I have read descriptions of paradise that would make any sensible person stop wanting to go there. I've never known any trouble that an hour's reading didn't assuage. If we only wanted to be happy, it would be easy, but we want to be happier than other people, which is almost always difficult, since we think them happier than they are. The right of conquest is not a right. A society can be founded only with the consent of its members. If it is destroyed by conquest, the nation becomes free again. It is not a new society, and if the conqueror tries to create one, it will be a dictatorship. I've never known any distress that an hour's reading didn't relieve. We are so blind that we know neither when to mourn nor when to rejoice. Our mirth and our sadness are nearly always false. A man who writes well writes not as others write, but as he himself writes. It is often in speaking badly that he speaks well. When the savages of Louisiana are desirous of fruit, they cut the tree to the root and gather the fruit. This is an emblem of despotic government. The political men of Greece who lived under popular government recognized no other force to sustain it than virtue. Those of today speak to us only of manufacturing, commerce, finance, wealth, and even luxury. I have never known any distress that an hour's reading did not relieve. Political liberty exists only when there is no abuse of power. Government should be set up so that no man need be afraid of another. A nation may lose its liberties in a day and not miss them in a century.